AI can remix a million sounds, but it can't write a heartbeat. It can tell you what love is without ever knowing how to experience it. It could generate words, but it can't feel pain, passion, or purpose behind them. Today, I'm so excited with my brother Willie J, artist,
Hey,
author, international best-selling author. Let's make that straight. And soul behind the hit song "Couldn't Imagine." Today, we want to talk to you about what happens when real voices rise and healing becomes louder than noise. Welcome with me, my good friend Willie J. Hey, Willie, glad to have you here with us.
hey, bravo, bravo, bravo. How are you, my friend? Steve Kidd, the legendary Steve Kidd. Thanks for having me.
Doing so good. Absolutely. I'm so excited. So, today officially is the launch of the hit single. It's already number one. It's just a matter of now the charts got to reflect what we already know God's already
On his
called it
way
to
to
be.
number, on his way
Yeah.
to number one.
Yeah.
That's for sure, man.
Um,
God is
and
paramount.
so, tell us a little bit about the birth of the song while I invite some people in here.
Awesome, man. Couldn't imagine really was birthed in my quiet time with the Most High, God, Elohim, El Shaddai, Yahweh, my best friend, my best buddy, Father of our fathers, Abba. And typically, most of my songs derive from my private time and uh, meditation, deep thought, supernatural critical thinking. And I was just having this moment with the Lord one day. Praise and worship is what we call it beyond the four walls, right, Steve? And let's just say I had that epiphany where I just couldn't imagine, trying to live this life without Him, get through the nuances of life, with the song being dedicated to breast cancer and all, my mom, within the same year, 1 year apart, my grandmother. Um, the mamas, man, were my greatest mentors, but this is how I was able to persevere and be resilient through, some very rough times. Yep. That's what it says on this board here too. Never stop winning. And that's how we never stop winning, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where Could
So,
Imagine. It's my love song to him personally.
I
Vertical.
totally love that. So, it's tell us some of the stuff that's happened here in the last couple of months, bringing it out because it's launched a lot different than what a lot of songs have. So, give us a little bit of that background.
Oh, for certain. It's a very unique. I've never released this with this type of strategy. First, we started off. God put it on my heart to open my Never Stop Winning uh, radio show. The radio show, Never Stop Winning, airs in 197 countries. We did a few episodes talking about faith over fear. And then I had an epiphany, rather than to do it the, typical way or the what we would call the orthodox way of breaking singles. He said, why don't you just open it up to start your show? I was only like 2 minutes and 50 seconds and it sets the tone, for teaching kingdom principles and kingdom awareness and talking about that faith over fear. So essentially, we let that spin, and then it start coming home on like 93.6 R&B in the Lou and different radio stations around the country and around the world. And people just start picking it up. You know how political this game is, and they gain some traction. And then lo and behold, right while that's happening, someone entered Couldn't Imagine into America's Next Top Hitmaker, in which we made it to be a finalist, which we're going to post about that pretty soon to kind of give you a taste and feel about how the journey took place. And this is out of 60,000 people, Steve, by the way, okay? 60,000 other artists around the world. And we were narrowed all down to like 16 artists, which gave the song a lot of traction. So now we're here. So we're about to go from there. That was sponsored by Colossal and so many sponsors, Rolling Stone, SoundCloud, which we've had a huge presence on SoundCloud, millions of streams, which is a very major platform. So today's the day, man. I'm excited about us releasing it to the world, man, and bring a lot of this love back to the game. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Totally cool. So, you couldn't imagine. Tell us a little bit, give us a little more insight into what you're expressing in that.
Well, I'm expressing this deep dependency on the God within me. The kingdom of God is within us. This is what Jesus told the Pharisees and Sadducees, right? He was always giving them a tough love lesson, right? He says neither over here or there. So, a lot of times it's good to have friends to lean on. It's good to have, family to lean on and things like that. But essentially, to get through really losing loved ones and grieving and growing, or leveraging that grief. You know me, man. I'm always talking about leveraging every moment, whether it be good or bad. But um, essentially, it's this vertical love, it's dual love. It's ultimately to God, because I don't think a person can affect you in this type of way. Like the second verse talks about, I can't eat without you, sleep without you, breathe without you, and God's breath is in us. He breathed into our nostrils the breath of life. So it's just this personal, non-religious love song to him and to significant others. And at times, it's so dual, man. Losing my mom to breast cancer, I don't like to say lose, she just transitioned, but she lives on through me, right? Uh, her mentorship. And this is where Couldn't Imagine derived from. It's probably three layers to it, man. You know. Yeah.
There is such a interesting connection between human love and the love that we feel for the Father. And
Yeah.
I love especially how this song does such a great job of bridging, really kind of all of those different definitions of love.
Yeah.
Both the concept of course, obviously the love for God, and then the
Hmm.
love that you have for the lady in your life, but also then that love that you feel for your mom and others that have
Exactly.
transitioned and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very rarely does a book capture that. And one of the things, you've listened to enough of my stuff, I've been talking a lot about how, as incredibly wonderful as AI is, it can't do those kind of things. It
That's
doesn't.
true.
It's never felt. It's never
Yeah.
felt what it feels like to be in love, to be heartbroken, to
Yeah.
feel that pain when, because, I mean, we're happy for our parents that have transitioned, but we miss
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. We
and
do.
sometimes
We
that hurt
miss them.
just rises up, and it's just
Yeah.
like
It does, man.
some days it can be overwhelming, in fact,
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
and I love how that really does it. But people need to understand, there's always that space for creativity.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So share with us a little bit of your vision and what you want to see besides the help that's going to happen with breast cancer. What you want to see this song really touch in people's lives.
I really want them to really sense that deeper, infinite, unusual, unconditional love, man. Where they just feel this supernatural bliss when after listening to it, which I've had people calling into the radio stations, kind of pivoting back to what we were talking about earlier, breaking it in on, to start the Never Start Winning radio show off. We got a lot of feedback, great feedback from around the globe, and even the producer, it blessed them so much. They love to say, "Oh, I love that song. You didn't know my mom is actually dealing with cancer right now, fighting for her life." And you just never know who you're touched. So I wanted to touch people in different ways, but ultimately, I want them to understand that sometimes in this life, you just have to lean on that greater love, that infinite paramount love, man, which is that agape love to get you through it. And yeah, man, I shed a few tears of joy this month, breast cancer awareness. But it's really a celebration because they made it, Steve. And I just want people who have been affected by this, all the people who struggle with that, like a cousin of mine, Trina. I thought I had enough time to collaborate with her and someone I grew up with, a cousin, very dear to my heart, passed away. I think during the finals of America's Next Top Hitmaker. Yep.
Mm,
So I want it to bring hope, man. Empowering people, changing lives. It's the PME thing, right? Creating
yeah.
hope through arts, love, right? So we want to create hope in not just resilience, but love and resilience kind of, coincide. They parallel in their own way, but essentially to really just win with love, like, to be hopeful, to give people hope, and to
Mm,
look within and look up vertically, you know,
yeah.
look to
Absolutely.
God to get through.
I
Yeah.
love that. So, the song's available for download today. Is it one place specifically, or is it multiple places that it's
Oh
available
my God,
today?
it's globally, man. This is a global release, my brother, and we're so excited that we've gotten to this point. I mean, this song has been a journey, man. And if I could even pivot a little bit back to one of your previous questions, man, about where this song came from. Yes, it came through a moment of meditation, meditating and talking to God and listening to God. But, it was also in this moment where I was really missing my mom and other moms, grandmothers who were like other moms and, another godmother, Helen Hart, passed the breast cancer, and it's just, yeah, man, and that's when those lyrics came with no ink, no pen and paper, no digital notes. There's nothing wrong with that, but all of these songs in this song, it was really freestyle, and I just remembered the lyrics from the hook to the chorus to the verse, because it's inside, you know. It's really how I feel. It's like I couldn't imagine trying to deal with this. Like you said, some days are uh, rough. Ultimately, we celebrate them because they made it to the other side, right? But there are those moments where we are human and we miss their fellowship, we miss their laughter, we miss their guidance in terms of motherhood. And the good thing is God can compensate for all of that. To the fatherless, He's a father. The motherless, He's a mother, and so forth and so
Mm,
on. And if you need a lover, He's that too.
yeah, absolutely.
You know
I
what I
totally
mean?
love that.
That's what that
Yeah. Oh,
song
I
is.
mean, I totally know what you mean. I mean, there are days when I catch myself picking up the phone to call my dad, and it's only
Yeah,
after, I've started that,
yeah,
subconscious thought that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I mean, it's not that you can't still have those conversations with them, but it just isn't the same,
right,
and
right, right.
yeah,
It's the human side of us, the
yeah.
human part of us. Yeah, especially when you had a pretty decent rapport, and you've had good dialogue with them and laughed and joked, and my mom was my best friend. She was not just a mom; she was really like
Mm.
at times a big sister. We would laugh at each other and say,
Mhm.
well, we bumped heads every now and then, not too often. But when I got older, she said, the problem is we're just alike. And we both laughed and hugged and went out to eat, and we did it all, man. But there comes a time where God will allow us to go through certain um, rough times where you have to take the URE off for the word pressure. And this is where that never stop winning lingo comes in, and it
Mm.
definitely played an intricate role into how he wrote Couldn't Imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's important for everybody to understand. One of the big things Willie and I are constantly talking about is you should be never stop winning, but your
yeah,
winning doesn't have anything to do with anybody else losing. It's about knowing who you are and really living in the purpose behind your passion so that
yeah,
you are winning in what you're meant to do in life. And if everybody really took that approach to winning, we
yeah,
could literally have the whole entire, universe of everybody winning.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Win your way, right? Never stop
Hmm.
winning volume one right here. Make sure you
Uh-huh.
got it. Number one international bestseller. 2.0 is on the way. And that is so important. This is why we strategically called it Win Your Way, because winning is really a subjective type of word. It was winning to you or me or someone else. It's gonna diversify. It's gonna differ, right?
Mhm.
Essentially, it's finding your tailor-made, authentic self, and God has a blueprint for everyone's success. You don't have to try to emulate anyone, rather just to be motivated by him. But you are enough because God imagined you, and you were strategically
Mhm.
created by him to be you.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
all part. There's so many cool things happening behind the scenes. So
Yeah,
much. I
man.
mean, the launch of this book, Never Stop Winning 2.0,
Mhm.
the Zaraz
Yeah,
book
yeah,
is,
yeah.
is positioned right behind that.
Hmm.
Zaraz International. We've got so many cool things you and I are working on together because
Absolutely.
couldn't imagine is kind of like what would you call it? Like a banner, like the bugle boy, if
Yeah,
you will, back in the
yeah, it
old
is.
days.
Yeah,
It's like putting the singers first in front of the army. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
how
yeah.
God kind of put this all together because it really
Yeah,
is. It's a movement. It's a movement of
yeah,
hope, of healing, of visibility, of true power and passion and purpose. And I just love
absolutely.
how all these things are coming together.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
and,
Yeah.
and that's where just really candidly we're asking people, hey, jump in, get to be
Jump
part of
in.
this, get
Oh yeah.
a
With that being said, I don't mean to cut you off. We're going to be recruiting advanced team VPs, vice
nice.
presidents, and presidents, and we're debuting that idea right here. We've talked about it behind the scenes. Me, Steve, and shouts out to uh, our amazing president. Aaron Emick, the other PME partner and compadre, and we've talked about that. And I think this is a good time to kind of debut that. And there's some perks that come with that as well too. No, your
Mhm.
time will be valued, and for each, maybe starting with this single, because we have been recruiting, so now we're gonna need VPs or maybe just a president who's over to head out the advanced team, right, Steve? Yeah, we want you to be a part of this growth and success. This soon to be number one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
it's such a great opportunity for you to make an enormous impact in the
yeah,
small area that you're in. I mean, one
yeah,
person, 10 people. So the president level, that would be somebody who's like, hey, look, I want to not just go out and spread the word myself, but I want to, put together a little team of my own, and we're
mm,
all going to go out and we're going to kind of overtake. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you live in Miltonville, Kansas, with 400 people, or you live in what's probably the biggest city, Los Angeles or New York.
yeah.
I mean, you've
Give or
got a
take,
little
give or take,
neighborhood. Yeah,
give or take.
I mean,
Yeah, give or take.
everywhere in between,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
you and your buddies and going out and I love it. Way back, and I don't know if you remember this. I mean, you and I have used this phrase several times since then, but way back in the first, I'm trying to think if it must have been in the interview that we did with Winning with Love that came out, almost this time last year already. A
yeah,
whole year's gone by already. Wow. Um,
yeah.
you know,
Absolutely,
but you
no
talked
doubt.
about, and I even have that, that clip that we posted that you talked about slinging hope like we used to
Yeah,
sling dope,
yeah, man. Yeah, man. No
and
doubt.
that's what we're looking
Absolutely.
for is some people that want to be out there, really putting it out there, really slinging it out there, and
Yeah,
making the
yeah,
difference. I mean, being
yeah, man.
actively part of changing the world.
Yeah, that's what it's about, man. It takes a village. It takes a team to live a dream, and I learned this is more a blessing to give than to receive. And I think what I love even more behind the scenes, me and you talk about this quite often, and A as well, aerodynamic. I call them A Boogie. Is that we just love empowering people, changing lives, helping them to grow into their next best version. So even with this song, we just want people to be able to absorb this amazing love that it heals and it causes them to transcend where they are in every aspect of life, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
man.
give us some idea of where, do we have a specific link we can send people to, or
Oh man.
just, I mean,
Anywhere
let's
where
give
they're
me some specific.
streaming.
Okay.
Yeah, anywhere like Amazon Music, definitely there. iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, it's everywhere. I don't want to go into the who's who, but it's a global release, and it's available on all streaming platforms where they sell music, etc. So get it now. Be a
And
part
we're
of
we're not
history.
going to play favorites and tell you which one we're going to push you to. Just pick the one that you use and go and get it. Get it
Yeah,
right now. I mean, jump off the show for a second, go get the thing, come back and post. Say I got it, in the
yeah.
comments,
And
and
shouts
we
out to
might
the
even have
LinkedIn
something.
family too. They're
Uh,
really running with it in Instagram. They're running with that
I
single
love it.
man. Yeah, in between those two, with just those two social media handles alone, there's thousands of likes concerning the hundreds of shares, and they're loving it, man. I'm grateful for God's favor. I don't take it lightly because this is very personal, Steve. This is a very personal record. It has a lot of
Yeah,
sentimental value behind it beyond what I can articulate right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine being able to say, and I want to go back a little bit more to our advanced team people because I know there's some people listening that are like, I want to be part of something. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
imagine being able to say that you are part of a global movement that literally changed the world. There is change
yeah,
coming. I mean, I've used this phrase before and, it privately, but I'll say it publicly. You
yeah,
can tell how huge the tsunami is going to be by how far the water recedes. And the
yeah,
water, anybody that's been, alive, paying any attention to anything, regardless of your personal beliefs and those kind of things, you see
yeah.
how far the water drew back. Um,
Absolutely.
and that wave, it's coming, and it's going to change the world. And
Yeah,
I really look at Willie and I, both of us, we're just kind of surfers. It's like we're not the change. I mean, we want to be
yeah,
part of it. We're going to surf
yeah,
that wave. We're going to ride it all the way inland
yeah,
until
yeah.
the
He's the
the
change right
yeah,
here. God is paramount.
yeah.
Permission t-shirts coming soon, right here. That's what that
How'd you
says.
like to
God is
get a
paramount.
Pure Mission T-shirt, a Pure Mission ball cap,
You know
Pure
what I mean?
Mission, mug or cup?
Absolutely, man.
There are a whole bunch of
Yeah.
those kind of things. You need
Oh,
to
it's coming.
really
Ink
jump in. We
pens.
got some
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Towels. Oh yeah, it's coming. And the secret nuance, secret sauce behind it is that it won't just be any kind of merch. There's things that will happen for you on an unprecedented level of abundance when you absorb. That's all I'll say.
yeah.
a
Well, and
lot
it's
of lot
about
of great things.
yeah, and it's about giving. I mean, I
Yeah,
love that How Can I Help You Today came out, a couple of months ago. It was such a great precursor to everything else that's happening now because we all need to understand that concept of radical generosity, of
yeah,
not
yeah.
thinking about what's in it for me. I mean, yeah, we want to
That's
get you the
important.
merch. We want you to listen to the
That's
song. We
important.
want you to be enriched
That's
by it.
important.
But I really want everybody to be an active part of it. Whether
Yeah,
you get one more person that comes along with you
yeah,
and says, hey, just listen to the song, just listen to the song, let it touch you, or you want to be, like massive. You want to be like, no, 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 man. I want to see if I can break the record for the most people that I
yeah,
drove to getting the thing, whatever level
yeah.
you're at, I mean, it's about the more that you can pass it on. Because that's when
That's it.
abundance, that's how you invite this
Yeah,
thing that we call abundance into our life. Okay.
that's it.
You can,
That's it.
you can, you can be like the dragon sitting on its hoard of gold, and you can be as rich. And I mean, we could name names of people who have all kinds of money. All right. But what are they doing with it? What is the difference between certain people who are talking evil about situations that have happened in the last couple of weeks and other
Yeah,
people who are saying, hey, this money isn't going to outlive me anyway. I
right.
want to use it for good things.
Mm.
And there are some really great opportunities for that kind of stuff, including, directly things that Willie and I are doing, including, should we talk about it? Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it live before, so it's not like it's a big secret, including our international headquarters that I have already claimed right here in Miltonville, Kansas. And it's a
Oh
template.
yeah,
It's not just about, hey, Steve saw these cool buildings and he selfishly wants to have them. It's about the vision. It's about seeing people walking the campus. It's about seeing musicians who are
yeah,
totally off on this other end. They're
yeah,
doing their own
yeah,
thing. They're chasing the money. There's a phrase for that.
yeah, yeah,
Hustling like nobody's business to
yeah.
come onto the campus, into the studio, because it's going to be the number one in demand studio in the world, to come and have their life radically changed while they were intending to sing a song that may not have been about hope and promise and peace and change. Um, so many of those things. And you guys can be part of it. I mean, on the smallest level of getting the song yourself to the greatest level of, I mean, we've even got room for one more person. If a massive investor wants to jump in right now, we do have an invitation for something like that. But we've got all these cool things happening. Give me
Not
some
a great
ideas of
thing.
some of the things, some of the visions that you're seeing of stuff that's going on, Willie, that is already happened, and now we just get to see it play out in the real world.
Well, absolutely. From one visionary to the other, and the visionaries who may be on this live or soon to see this live. Um, I just believe everything that we're waiting to become, or I think it's already happened in the heavens. I think everything that's going to be already is. Faith is evidence. The evidence of things not seen, the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence. Right. So a lot of the things that people see, all the way up until this point during our 7 years in PME, it's been a lot of visualization, right? And land possessing, if you will, like Joshua. We look at success in it from a different, scope than most people, right? But and God always does exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or think, right? But we're not chasing. We go in and visualize it, and you have faith. And I believe that the very moment that it's clear and there's that clarity, back to that word clarity, right? I think when it's really there in your subconscious mind, which produces 98% to 100% of our results in life, I believe that when it's there, we become impregnated, right? And I think it's always just a matter of time before we see it coming to fruition, or the manifestations, if you will. And I just believe we're magnets, right? Uh, Wherever God leads us, in all opportunities aren't the right opportunities, for our brand. But um, I have learned that there is so much power in visualization and just visualizing new land, and that's what we're doing. We're possessing land around the country, outside the country, and we're opening up different offices. And it just starts. It starts with a vision. Without a vision, the people perish, right? And you have to believe in the fruition of that vision. You have to see it, begin with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey said. I love that quote. Begin with the end in mind. So that's what we do at PME. That's what we're doing here. We visualize it, and nothing at that point. Once it's clear, and there's no, let me find the right word, contradicting or counter intentions, and that will come, and that pressure comes in our pursuit always, right? Uh, but I just believe every promise is already yea and amen with God, that we're walking out what we are supposed to be. And it's more being, Steve, more than less, more so than becoming. Being it, being in the moment, being in the present, it guarantees a very promising future, or tomorrow, if you will, and just stay focused on that. And
Absolutely.
just like we're
Well,
doing
and
with the
it,
number one. We're not number one yet, but we've seen it already, here and here, here and here, in our mind. So is a man thinking in his heart, what? So is he. So we'll know it before the month is out. I just know that. And so what we do with our books, right, Steve? That's what we do with the books and do with the music. That's what me and A would do. Um, we would mastermind 2, 3 times a week in our off, the old office downtown Collinsville, where we started up in the grassroots. And you know what? I think this is important to know too. Now, our masterminds was not about. It was not about achieving a certain level of success, but just sustainable abundance, just being the vision. And more we're being, we're becoming what we're being, right? Most people are caught up with becoming. Becoming can cause resistance, stress, anxiety. But when you're just being and say, oh, we're just going to practice being PME. So the first record officially was We Love You, Puerto Rico. We didn't really set out to say, hey, we want this to be on Billboard in Europe, right? Top 200. But that's what happened. And I think it's more or less just focusing on what's yours, what God has for you. It is for you. You remember that song back in the day? What God has for me
Mhm.
is for me. So just
Mhm.
focusing on that piece. And like you mentioned, the land, I just believe, just like when he told Joshua, before they walked around the wall 7 times, right? Number of completion, the number of land possession, right? And the number of rest and possess. I think that's where that comes in, you know? Um, and that's where we feel today. We feel we're excited. And I think it's the why more than the number one. Why does a number one matter? Um, it matters for the impact of the cause behind the record or whatever we're doing. It amplifies the voice. It's not about a plaque. It's not about that because essentially, if that doesn't echo in heaven, none of these plaques mean anything anyway, right? It's not registered.
Well, and it's about leading the charge. It really is. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
listening right now and you want to know what's in it for me, what's in it for you is we're operating in, if you will, actually more like the air in the front of the spear tip. You know,
yeah,
cutting the way through so that you can be a
yeah,
number one best-selling author, you can be a number one entertainer with your songs.
yeah.
Everything that we're doing, we're if you've ever tilled soil, I mean, I live out here in farm country now, so I think about that. But if you've ever tilled soil that's never ever been planted in before, I mean, when you first get in there and you start grinding it up, and I'm not talking about being able to even plant in it at all. You got to get in there and really grind it up and really.
Yeah,
We've done a lot of that grinding for years and
yeah.
years and years. Not in that hustler kind of grinding way, but in that
Right,
being willing
right.
to be out in front and do
Yeah,
the things that make it then good soil, so that when then
I
you
like
come
that.
behind us, you're just like a little seed,
Yeah.
and we see and we call out to all of y'all's little seeds that can be planted in ground that's
Yeah,
ready
man.
to grow in. I mean, if
Yeah,
you just went out in your yard, okay, just using a grassy yard, you just went out in your yard and you just threw a seed out there. I mean, you could buy the seed from the greatest seed manufacturer in the world. I don't know who that is.
yeah.
You just take and toss it out your front yard. Maybe
Hmm.
it'll grow, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll land on the
Yeah.
sidewalk, maybe it'll land, but if the soil's not ready for it, but when the soil's ready, when it's got the
Mm.
good fertilizer and it's been all dug up and you got that little opening in it so you can put it in and then you put the dirt back over top of it, we want to
Hmm.
nurture and cultivate you. But in order to
Yeah.
be able to do that, we got to lead the charge. We didn't write the
Yeah.
books because Willie and I need to run around and go, hey, I've got 12 international bestsellers. I got 39 international bestsellers. I got another one coming out
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It really is
Nah.
about you. We want you to be part of. In fact, before I go any further without making an invitation, I want everybody to come join us Visibility Amplifier. It's the
Yeah.
community Willie and I put together. Visibilityamplifier.com will take you right there. This is
Yeah,
an
man.
open invitation to just jump in. That's a free group on Facebook that allows you the capability to just really dive in there, to practice, to
Oh
drill,
yeah.
to do the things, to be safe until you get so wildly
Yeah.
comfortable with it that you can't keep it to yourself. You got to say it. You got to speak it. You end
Come
up
on and join.
going down the
100%.
road and reaching out to people and just going, "Hey, man, I got to tell you something because I've been practicing them forever and I gotta do it." Clarity. You said this earlier, and I'm going to back it up again. Clarity is powerful. Without that clarity, you can have the heart to want to reach everybody in the world, but if you don't consistently show up, and if you're not clear in how
Mm,
you're going to show up, it's never going to happen. It's never going to work. It
mm,
doesn't matter how much you want to save the world. If you don't
yeah.
have the platform to be able to do it, the help to be able to do it, the consistency in doing it, and the clarity of knowing really what you're meant to do. I mean, so
Yeah.
many of us, I've been talking a lot this week, Willie, about how so many people go to AI and they want to let AI tell them who they are. You know,
That's dangerous.
imagine,
Dangerous.
imagine. I love that Couldn't Imagine is coming out because imagine what your life would be if you let somebody or some AI program tell you who you are rather than
I
the
like that.
ability to be able to imagine what
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
lives are like because of all that God poured into us and how He created us and how, because here's the thing, we've talked a lot about vision, about
Mm,
seeing it before it happens. God saw you before the creation of the world and literally created the whole world. I mean, people need to understand, okay? Some of us are blessed. We had amazing parents. Both you and I had great parents. Not
oh yeah.
everybody had that. Not, and
Hmm.
I was in a conversation with somebody the other day and they were talking about how can people be living in this situation? How got a lot of that? And I'm like, well, number one, because it was so important that they come about. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing. Literally the entirety of everything since the beginning of everything came together in the moment that you became a person, that
Yeah.
exact person. And the only way that could happen with the two people, flawed as they may have been, so that you can then go out into the world and make the difference and be who you are. And
Yeah.
you need to be the one who is diving into finding that clarity and being that. And you need to be the one who
Yeah.
begins to move from no imagination to being able to imagine it to, and you're going to love this, Willie, you'll love how I'm going to work this in, to the place where you couldn't imagine what it would be like if
No
you
doubt.
didn't have that in your life. And it's that process. You
Absolutely.
got to
No
go
doubt.
from nothing to it's just the reality. And that's what I love more than anything else about Couldn't Imagine is that's when you get to
Right
that
on.
place where you're living
Right on.
in that reality of it's not
Yeah.
anymore a hope, want, wish, and dream, but it's
Yeah.
so real that you just
Yeah.
couldn't imagine what it would be like without it. So come join
Yeah.
us, visibilityamplifier.com. You need to be a part of that group as well. Let's talk a little bit more, though, about Couldn't Imagine. There's some big people that are watching. There's always people watching us. We often don't know it, but in your particular case, you've had a few people knock on your door and let you know, hey, we're watching you. Um,
Oh my God.
Give us some idea of both sides of the fence, because there's some people that are watching and they're hoping for you to fail. And for lots of reasons. That people do that. I don't know why we do that as people, but there
What?
are, right. Let's be real, all right. And there are also
Unfortunately,
some
that's
people,
a
you know,
truism, brother.
and there are some really big situations out there that are just saying, okay, all right, now prove it. Now show us. You say you're all this. You've done this, Bass. We love you. Puerto Rico did whatever, but now prove it. Talk to
in the
us about some of
morning,
that
in the
that's happening in
morning,
your
did
life.
his thing. Yeah, in the
Yeah,
morning for COVID.
yeah,
Then
love
we
that
did
song.
right on. Appreciate it. Never let you go. We did that for the earthquake victims in Morocco when we were blessed to grace the digital cover of Morocco Forbes, and So yeah, man, couldn't imagine. I want to visit that piece. Let me pivot back to that piece that you just said. There's always going to be people that wish you would fail, but you just pray for them, and if you don't have any haters, you're not in the game. You're not making any impact because let's just go here. JC, I call him JC for short, Jesus Christ, aka Yeshua HaMashiach, right? He said, "Woe unto them that are spoken well of by all men." So back to that other piece, we're not trying to save the world. We're just trying to save a world of people that we're called to lead and called to, and that's waiting to be helped in whatever way that is, or empowered rather, right? But yeah, you use them as fuel, and that's important to know, man. You're keeping it real, bro. That's just what it is. This game comes with that, and I have to tell some clients, we do life coaching with and for that. No, you can't focus on that. You just can't. You focus on the energy of people, but you need to be aware of it though, because if you're not aware of it, you can't really prepare for it, right? That's what growth is. The beginning of growth, you have to be able to be aware that everybody's not going to clap when you're winning, and that's okay. We don't need the amens, like we just need you to be empowered. I would rather you have empower. I've seen people healed of heart diseases and they didn't probably budge. They just sat there and cried where we may have been singing or teaching. And they were kind of the quietest people in the room, and they had the biggest praise report the next night or the following week. So you can't, sometimes you just don't know. There's some people silently and privately being transformed by what you do. And sometimes they're silent. Maybe they don't want everybody to know it. And that's okay. Heaven knows it. Um, and I think that's what separates us, man. We don't, there's this thing going on in the industry now and on social media, brother. It's a C word, man. I think you know where I'm going with it. It's that clout chasing. This is why look, if you look the way we post, it's all about just permission. Whatever we're doing, it's essentially evolved around that. Man, we're not trying to kiss feet and get everybody to like us. We can't save the world. Jesus died for the world, but people reject him and you get crucified and persecuted. God bless all the persecuted Christians out there and born again believers, right? You can't do that. You just got to show love anyway. And that's what I learned from my mom. Speaking of this song dedication, she used to tell me to be the bigger person in certain scenarios. I said, "Why I have to be the bigger person, Mom? I'm very young at the time." She said, "You'll understand later on." I'm like, "Okay." And by the time I got to my 20s before she passed, and she got to see some monumental things come to pass in my life, right? Through the struggle, never judged me, always was there. And I said, "I get it now, Mom. I see why you said it pays to be the bigger person. The bigger person is this. Sometimes you'll show love to people who would never show you love. Let's go there." So, and back to the imagination, couldn't imagine. It's a melodic musical about a lot of different imaginations that we intertwine with in this life, in this 3D third dimension, right? There's imaginations, mean everything is imagery and imagination. God imagined us before he created. Let us make man out of our own likeness and image. So this song is about a love that, you know, that's kind of inexplicable. Those lyrics, I'm not sure if it does it all of the justice, but it's close enough to depict, you know, how I feel about God in a personal way, non-religious way, but in a biblical sense, right? How I feel about him and needing him to be able to grow with the flow. See, this is where all those fancy cliches came from. Growing with the flow. He had to show me how to do that. I didn't always know how to grow with the flow. At times I was just going with the flow. So, but there's this time, so it's the competition of imaginations. This is the ultimate imagination that says, well, I couldn't imagine trying to even eat, breathe, think. You my partner in crime, and like you say, it's dual. It's vertical and horizontal all at the same time, and it's that ultimate imagination of love and having that kind of love for someone that you just can't imagine being without them, or even trying to exist and function without them. You know what I mean? And that's what I want the listeners to
Absolutely.
take away, man,
Absolutely, I do.
from the song. It's out now. Today's the day. New
Mm.
Beginnings, number 8, Infinity. And thank you to all, everyone who's been showing so much love and support for us right now. And for the cause that's bigger than me, PME, you, everybody. That's bigger than the song itself. And this is breast cancer awareness. And we've
Mm.
been greatly affected by this type of cancer that they claim they have no cure for it. But that's another discussion for another time.
Mm.
But thank y'all
Well,
for the opportunity, you know.
and I even dropped into the conversation there the link so you can find it on Amazon. Because I'm
Yeah.
always in Amazon. I've always got an Amazon page open anyway, so I
Yeah.
went and found it.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I
you.
just went and bought
Appreciate
it.
that.
I mean,
Thank you,
dollar
brother.
and 29 cents. I mean, come
Oh,
on.
that's what they charge you? Oh, okay. That's
That's
not
what they
bad.
charged me for that.
Oh, that's
Dollar and
awesome.
29 cents.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and
Awesome.
after you buy it, you can download it too, or you can listen to it on your thing. I happen
Yeah.
to do it on my computer, so I download it so that I can, use it. But I mean, to imagine if $1.29, and I'm looking it up here on Spotify and a couple other places as we're talking, but imagine if $1.29 could change the world. Imagine if somebody that you love didn't die of cancer because of the seed that was planted from your $1.29.
Mm, that's awesome,
I
man.
mean,
That's dope.
the
That's
it's
dope.
it's our capability to be able to do what we can do,
Yeah.
you know. And when we start talking about something that small, something uh, like that, I mean, I love how the verse in the Bible talks about how the mustard seed is the
Mm,
smallest of all seeds, and yet it
yeah.
grows into being one of the
Yeah.
largest of all plants. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
man.
this is your
No
seed. This
doubt.
is your time to plant. This is your time to be deeply involved with it. And yeah, I mean, if you want to be one of our can I use this phrase? One of our corner boys. Corner boys for that should be something else. We should put together a shirt for that. Corner boys for change. You know,
Mm,
I mean,
that's what it's about, change, man.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
not because we telling you to, not getting to see them
yeah.
because we're telling you to, just to support the cause, but you're gonna be blessed while listening or after listening during that record. I know because it was given from the man upstairs. It was written right while talking to him and singing to him. So I know you will be blessed.
Mm,
Oh yeah. Two
yeah.
ways, 3 ways,
Yeah.
at
Oh,
least 3 ways.
and it'll just keep going and going,
Yeah.
and before you know it, you just won't even be able. Ooh,
Hmm.
yeah. I wish I could play. I've got it up here on my
Yeah.
thing from Spotify. I wish I could actually play it live. I don't know how to be able to do that, but yeah, you
We'll
can get it
figure
on
that out.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Found it there. I mean, just anywhere you can find music. Uh, I want everybody to take a minute. I want you to stop and think about that thing that's really important to you.
Mm.
We all have it. We all have that want, wish, dream. Um, I want you to plant the seed for yourself.
Yes.
I want you to see that thing. I want you to really clearly, I mean, even if you need to do like I'm doing right now and close your eyes and really be able to see the vision. And it doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is. I mean, some people have massive visions.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people are, like an Elon Musk, where they are going to make billions and trillions of dollars and, be known, whether they're loved or hated, doesn't matter where you're at. Known. Other people, you know, that vision that comes in front of your eyes is, that person that you see every time you go to work, and you
Yeah.
just wish so badly you could do more to help them, you know,
Mm.
or the thing that you see on TV, that just really sparks your heart.
Yes.
I want you to hold that clearly. And then
Mm.
I want you to be able to take the next step from that being something that you hope, want, wish, pray, dream is going to happen, to allow it to move into something that already is. I've spent this whole last year, especially, and I know you're on this journey with me, Willie,
Mm.
of learning how to be able to understand. There's the old phrase that says, what you can conceive and believe, you will achieve.
Yep.
And I've used that phrase, for decades, literally. But a lot of times we don't really understand to just first come up with it. That's
Yeah.
conceiving it. But to
Yeah.
believe it means to be in the place where it's actually already done, where
Yes.
it's already happened, versus being in a place where you're like, well, I hope that's going to happen.
Right.
Hope is painful, really. I mean, let's
Yeah.
just be really honest. When you live in a place where you hope things are going to happen, okay,
Yeah.
but when you take that next step, see, and I'm going to get all Bible-y on you here for a second, because I told you at the beginning I'm a third generation minister, so now I have permission to
Preacher.
be able to do it.
Preacher. Preacher.
The Bible says faith is the evidence. Okay, faith is the evidence. In other words, you could go to court with this thing. It's the evidence of the things that you hope for, the
Mm.
substance of the things that you don't currently see. See, if you went to court over that vision that you have, and again, I don't care how big it is, it's big as you have it for you. That's what's important.
Yeah.
If you, when you
That's
realize you could literally go to court and you could say, no, I believe it. Not just, I hope, want, wish, dream, pray. I'm expecting, on my knees, on my face in front of God, begging
mm.
him to make it happen. But I believe it.
Right.
God said it. Here's a phrase I know you've heard a zillion times in church. God said it. I believe it. That settles it.
That
And then we,
settles it.
move out, and the next day we go, man, I really hope God does that. How settled is that, really? And I'm just sharing with y'all, that deep, intense journey that I've been on, where it's like, no. I mean, when I talk
Yeah.
about the property, I already talk about it as ours. And people will be like, well, what if it doesn't happen? It's like, well, what if it does? I mean, how much more effort does it take to see everything that you're called to do come to pass, as it does
Yeah.
to worry, what if it doesn't? And again, couldn't
That's it.
imagine is your capability to be able to plant a seed and to show and put belief, actual action too. It's all about you, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about you bringing to reality
Hmm.
that thing that, you might not be able to go, here's a water bottle. Okay.
Right.
But it's just that real. Here it is. How do I know? I planted the seed. I went out. I went to whichever one of the streaming services, whichever one of the download services, and I got that. And I did it. I did it for me. I did it because when
Right
I
on.
close my eyes, I see, I feel, I taste that vision. When I
Yeah.
go to Chat GPT and I say, give me a vision, all I can do is reflect back, well, here's all the stuff you told me about you. How about this vision?
Hmm.
And so many people just run from that. You just run with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They're like,
Yep.
Chat GPT told me that I should be blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not on
Right.
Chat GPT because, let's be honest, okay? I told my kids this, and this is way before anybody ever conceived of Chat GPT. I told them, if you don't define yourself, somebody else will gladly do it for you.
Mm.
And I promise you, the person that's willing to define you for you is not going to want good things for you. They're going to want
Fact.
whatever's in it for them,
That's a fact.
and
That's a
especially
fact.
when we get into relationships,
Yeah.
that person that you date, I'm getting real here for a second.
Mm,
That person that you date, that you haven't already defined who you are, that then helps you define who you are.
mm,
They're defining you for them. They want you to perceive yourself as exactly who you tell them, who
mm.
they tell you, in other words, that you should be, so that you can be perfect for them. And here's the problem: eventually, you're either going to suffer for your whole life, or you're going to get sick of the suffering and you're going to up level yourself. And when you do, that situation is no longer going to work. We
Absolutely.
need to really dive into that clarity to know who we are. And I'm
Absolutely.
inviting you, I'm begging you really, and I don't normally do that, but I'm begging you, plant the seed of buying Couldn't Imagine right now, streaming it, download it, purchase it, all the different platforms. Do it right now. Do it. What's in it for you? Everything you've ever hoped, want, wished, dreamed, prayed for.
Oh
This
yeah.
is the seed that is bringing it from concept into reality right now in your life. And I'm inviting
Yeah.
you in to join us with that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
man.
Willie. I know that was a little deeper than sometimes we go live here, but I just felt like we needed to say that.
What's
Feel
up?
free to add, subtract, multiply, or divide whatever I just said.
That's good stuff. Yeah, man. There's an ID going around virus. That's the identity virus. IV rather. Yeah, definitely go get that cause though. I wanted to revisit that real quickly, Uh make sure, yeah, we had COVID-19. That was rough, very rough pandemic, and we were blessed to be able to thrive during that very trying moment, turbulent time, right? But one thing we can't do under pressure, we got to take the URE off, and we have to remember who we are. I think that's important. Like when you go hear any of my music, right, or read any books, it's really who I am. This is me. These are things we abide by and strive to abide by each day, every day. Like you said, consistency. John C. Maxwell said, consistency compounds, and I say consistency multiplies. It's the quickest way to multiplicity, because you're steadily building. And that's what we did with Couldn't Imagine. This was a song I sang each day, and I didn't have to write it down because it was from my heart. It was written on the tables of my heart already. And I figure if it comes out consistently, back to that word, and organically, right, that I truly mean those lyrics. You know, this is something I don't have to think about. This is just how I feel for real. So just don't be afraid to be who you are, man, in every authentic manner, in every layer of you. We all have many layers, we wear many hats, but never lose your identity though. These are like anything you've heard up until this point. We love you, Puerto Rico, Sunshine with the Rain, In the Morning, which big record for COVID, millions of streams on SoundCloud. Um, and across the net. These are our influences. Like this is really who we are. And Couldn't Imagine, you hear that? That's who we are. This is who we are. We're not trying to be anybody else but ourselves. And it's okay to be you. I just want you to know that. And love is authentic, right? It's authentic. It's the most powerful frequency in the universe. And the only frequency that's capable of turning enemies into friends or an enemy into a friend. So I can't imagine not having that kind of love and walking in that kind of love or winning with that kind of love. Everything is about love, man. So I pray that you love better. My hope is that you'll love in a deeper way, in a more real way, in a more authentic way. Soul, like you said, Chat GPT, brother. You can leverage technology. It's nothing wrong with that. And I knew where you were saying it. I love the balance that you gave, but just don't lose your soul. Don't it doesn't have a soul. The soul is our minds, will, and emotions. That's what the soul of the man is. A computer or a robot can't tell you that. So it should only be used as a sidebar if you're going to do anything, maybe to say something in a different manner or find another word in terms of your like a digital thesaurus, right, Steve? Like maybe something like that. but it should be something that you truly mean in your heart. And I can truly say I got no reference points. What is it? GPT, right? AI was not in the vicinity when I wrote this song. Couldn't imagine. It was nothing digital going on. There was nothing with ink or paper. It was right with the ink of my heart. And that's where it came from. I believe that's where the best stuff comes from. Right in here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. So
Go get that scene.
Yeah. Go get Couldn't Imagine right now today. Don't wait. Don't walk, run. Get there right now. It's available on all platforms. The proceeds of it is going to help fight breast cancer, find a cure for that insidiously horrible situation. Do come join us in Visibility Amplifier. This is for real people. It's time for real people to stand up and be the real change in the world, because AI can't copy your words. It can't know or copy your why.
Right. That's a fact.
The why is your voice, and it still heals. It's always going to be needed. The world needs to hear exactly who you are today, so that you too can say, I couldn't imagine what life would be if I wasn't living exactly in the heart and soul and the purpose that I'm meant to be. So go and get the song. Go and get Couldn't Imagine right now today. Like I said, I dropped the Amazon link so you can go and buy it. Do the thing. Willie, I'm so excited for everything that we've got going on. So excited to just see this skyrocket in the charts today. Can't wait to see where I can go and look at some of the chart things. And I appreciate you being here.
You're probably going to have to give that a few days.
Yeah, well, it'll probably take a little bit. Amazon statistics are usually at least 24 to 72 hours behind. But we're going to see it do amazing.
Maybe about a week we'll know something within a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Willie, thanks so much for being a guest with me here on the show today.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it, brother. You guys be blessed out there, and don't ever stop winning. Never stop winning. All right? Keep winning with love. Much love to all you guys. Shout out to the PME Dream Team everywhere. I'm glad to have you as one of our great assets over the marketing sales department, buddy, compadre, affiliate. We're grateful to have you and the rest of the PME team from around the globe. So thank you guys for always supporting us, and especially under these type of circumstances and with a cause that's so worthy and big. It's all about breast cancer right now, for sure. Much love. Peace.
Thanks, Willie.
Right.